and action. Okay, so this is part 2 of the cold read we were doing. This is the second selection, Weathering the Storm. Okay, so let's read Weathering the Storm. And again, we're sticking with the same theme, natural disasters, right? Yeah. And at a first glance, I noticed that it starts with the pronoun I. What does that tell you? Yes.
That one of the characters in the story is also narrating.
Correct. One of the main character, well, the character is in the story. We're going to hear a first-hand account of someone who was able to weather the storm. What does this mean, weathering the storm?
Like you survived the storm.
You survived the storm. Yes?
Wrangling.
Like raining?
No, like surviving.
Surviving it.
It's also kind of like the I Survived books.
Like, correct. All right, so let's take a look, okay? I glanced over at the lamp on the dresser as the light flickered. Again, deep down, I knew I was it was only a matter of time before the storm knocked down our power. Until then, all we could do was wait. Outside, the storm continued to grow with each passing moment. An hour ago, the thunder crashed like a herd of giants. I'm going to underline this. I like this. The thunder crashed like a herd of giants in the distance. What is the author describing here? Yes.
The sound of the storm. Back to you, Miss Friends.
Thank you, dear.
Channel 7 News.
Okay, so the author is using a simile to create this imagery, right? This image in your head, how the thunder was. Now it sounded like a runaway train. Again, another imagery. It sounded like a runaway train rumbling back and forth above the roof of our apartment. How does the author use these two similes to create an image in your mind? What does the author do? Because you can picture this, right? The thunder crashed like a herd of giants in the distance. Right? And what about, it sounded like a runaway train rumbling back and forth above the roof of the apartment. Right? It creates an image in your mind. My younger...
Is the runaway train like the one that at the train
that goes long distance?
It's a train that's nonstop. It just keeps going.
Like some of those ones at the train station or the airport where it's just like on the track and it goes back and forth, like those big running
Correct.
trains.
Those big ones, okay? My younger sister sat on the bed and clutched her stuffed dog tightly to her chest. I could see the fear in her eyes as something on the roof flapped loudly in the wind. I patted her knee while I put on the bravest face I could. "We're going to be all right, Kelly," I whispered. She looked over at me and nodded, hugging the dog closer. I'm not sure if my sister believed me, but we have been through storms like this before. Sometimes they happen in this part of Florida. A few days ago, a meteorologist on the local news warned that people living in our small community about a really bad storm coming our way. That's when Mom and Dad put their plan into action. The next day, I helped Mom pick up empty flower pots and other light things around the yard so the wind wouldn't blow them away. Meanwhile, Kelly helped Dad herd the dogs inside and collect the candles and flashlights from the cabinet. You can tell that this is preparing for a what? A hurricane, right? I got off the bed and peeked through the opening between the curtains. At the same time, we could hear the wind outside as it started to rain. Even though we were used to the seasonal storms, the really severe ones were always a little scary. Please give that back to him. No, I don't want to hear about. Give it. Are they his?
Yes, they're mine.
Okay.
He keeps putting them out of my desk and gives them to
Do not listen to me. Please be respectful towards each other's materials, okay? Let's continue. At least this one wasn't a hurricane. Oh, I guess it wasn't a hurricane. It was just a horrible storm. Because look what it says in here. Even though we were used to seasonal storms, the really severe ones were always a little scary. At least this one wasn't a hurricane. Maybe a tropical storm?
But a very big one.
Maybe a tropical storm. Okay. The sight outside looked familiar. Curtains of rain gushed down from the clouds. Look how curtains of rain gushed down from clouds that were streak gray, black, and white. How is the author describing the rain? Is it a light rain? No. Look at this. Curtains of rain. So it's like it's coming in sheets. It's coming super heavy. You cannot even see across. Right? And I can see the palm trees outside our apartment building bending in the wind. Leaves and other debris sail through the air, bouncing off cars, fences, and other buildings. I saw a blue flash in the distance, and suddenly the lights went out. My sister gasped in the bed behind me. "Power's out," she yelled so everyone could hear. A flashlight beam cut through the darkness in the hallway, and Mom and Dad appeared in the doorway. The first thing my dad said was, "We're safe." Even in the darkness, I could feel his eyes moving back and forth between Kelly and me. We knew the storm would knock out the power, he reassured us, and that's why we have flashlights. We are prepared. My father's words had a calming effect, and I could feel my sister relax on her bed. Later, as my sister and I lay down to try to get some sleep, I kept repeating Dad's words over and over in my head. "We're safe. We're prepared. We're safe. We're prepared." The storm had been a force of nature, but thanks to Mom or Dad, we were prepared and safe. Weathering the storm was something we were used to in Florida. When Mom and Dad said we could go outside, the sun was beginning to shine through the puffy white clouds like nothing ever happened. The storm was over, and soon we have to clean up the neighborhood. When the next storm came, we could be ready. Well, when the next storm would come, they could be ready. Okay? So here is the writing part. Like I said, because this was the first cold read in 4th grade, and because honestly you're not going to see short responses on the PM1, PM2, PM3, I pretty much gave everyone a 2 on this, regardless of what you wrote. That's very nice, isn't it? Yes, this is worth 2 points, this question on the cold read. Okay, so what I saw is if you at least turned this question, the question into a statement, I gave you 1 point. And if you gave me a little bit of evidence, I gave you the other point. So those were your 2 points. Most of you did, and some of you did not. But even if you did not, I still gave you the 2 points. I am not going to do this on the, please sit down, on the next few cold reads, but I did it today just to help you out with your score, and because it was only the first one. Okay, so how do we go about answering this question anyway? It's explain how the author uses comparing contrast text structure. Support your answer with evidence from the passage. Now, which passage are we using for this one?
Weathering the storm.
Weathering the storm. Okay, so how do we do that? Tell me. We write the author uses comparing contrast. What am I doing right now?
Taking the question.
There you go. Using the question as part of my response. I already told you that this is something you have to do all the time. Use the question as part of your response. So the author uses comparing contrast
I put that.
remember, this is not an expository
Text.
This is a story, right? What is another name for story that we talked about? Well, I'm just going to put story. narrative is another name for story, right? So the author uses compare and contrast to move the story along, right? To move it along. He uses words like an hour ago, right? And then he goes, and now. An hour ago and now, to compare and contrast how was the weather earlier and how's the weather after, right? To compare and contrast, he uses an hour ago and now to compare the weather. To show, I'm just going to write here, to show how the weather changes over time. Even if you wrote this, that's fine. If you went ahead and you wrote something like he uses description, he compares how the characters felt, right? It says something like the minute that his sister listens to the father, how did she feel? Safe. But before then, how did she feel? Scared. She felt scared, right? She was holding to the dog, and then after he heard the father, she felt better. So you could have also have said that. When I read your responses, I don't think no one wrote anything like this, similar to this. You took it in a different way. But it's fine. It's fine. This question is not going to affect your grade overall. Why? Because I gave everyone the 2 points. This question, I feel, in my opinion, it wasn't that fair, because it's comparing like the story and we haven't really worked on this. We haven't really worked on comparison of and contrast of characters and the way they feel and things like that. So this is a very complex type of question. Okay, so if you didn't get this question, don't worry. This is the first cold read. And we're going to continue working on identifying, compare, and contrast in narrative. Okay, let's continue. I'm not going to get into detail with this one. But this question, again, every time you see it on the cold read, how much is it worth? 2 points. Okay. Question number 7. This question has 2 parts. First, answer part A, then part B. What does the author mean by saying the thunder crashed like a herd of giants in the distance? We talked about this before when we were reading it. What does it mean? This is the author's perspective. Let me put here, authors. This is an author's perspective question. In other words, we know that perspective is the way people see it, their thoughts and feeling about something, how they see something. So when you read this question, what does the author mean when he says the thunder crashed like a herd of giants in the distance? That's talking about how does the author see the thunder? Does he see the thunder? The sound of the crashing giant was louder than the thunder? That's just him. That's just repeating that same question, correct?
Yeah.
The sound of the crashing herd of giants went into the distance? Is that how he sees the thunder?
No.
The sound of the thunder was closer than the herd of crashing giants?
No.
How about D? The sound of the thunder was as scary as a herd of giants stomping ground.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Sweetheart, there is no gluing right now. Your eyes should be on the Promethean board. Okay?
Glue your eyes to
Correct. There you go. Why? Because, again, cold reads are not that easy. You already saw your score. So the more that you know, and by the way, I will go over the other cold reads, but I'm not recording them, okay? So don't worry. I will go over all of them. Okay. Part B. Why is this description important? Why having the description of how the author viewed the storm important? Is it important because it shows that the author thinks that thunder sounds frightening? Is it important because it shows that the author can carry other sounds a long distance? Is it important because it shows how the author thinks thunder and giants sound the same? Or is it important because it shows that thunder sounds different than the giants when giants are around? Which one do you think is the best response?
C.
Let's look at C. It shows that the author thinks thunder and giants sound the same.
No, it's A.
Think about this. Thunder and giants. Are giants a fictitious character?
Yes.
Yes, so it can be. What reference does he have? He's using that as an imagery so you can picture it in your mind, but this is not why it's important. Why is it important?
Because the thunder sounds frightening.
Because the thunder thinks that the thunder sounds what? Frightening.
I got
The answer is A. A. Number 8. Is this making sense, boys and girls? Now that I'm going over it? Okay. Filling the bubbles before two, and again, this is a type of question that a lot of you get confused. When it says filling the bubbles before two sentences from the passage that show the author's perspective about preparing for the storm. So we need to find out what two statements show how the author views the importance of what? Preparing for a storm. Okay, preparing for the storm. So let's see. The storm had been a force of nature, but thanks to mom and dad, we were prepared and safe. Does that give you perspective about how the author feels of preparing for the storm? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So because it tells you right here, right? It says mom and dad were prepared and safe, right? They make sure that they were prepared and safe. So yes, that's one. Can you touch the Promethean board so it doesn't turn off? Thank you. Let's look at B. Weather in this storm was something we're used to in Florida. Does that give you the author's perspective about preparing for the storm? No, it doesn't. It's just saying that weathering the storm was something that they were used to it. When mom and dad said we could go outside, the sun was beginning to shine through the puffy clouds like nothing had ever happened.
no.
Does that give you his perspective about preparing for the storm?
No.
No. The storm was over and soon we had to help clean up the neighborhood. Does that give you his idea about preparing for the storm?
No, because that's accurate.
Correct. What about this one? When the next storm came, we will be ready. Does that? Yes. So the answers for A that give you the author's perspective, the importance of preparing for the storm are A and E.
Shouldn't it be when the next storm comes, we will be ready?
Well, yeah, it's the letter before the statement. It's the letter before the statement. Okay? Let's look at number 9. We're almost done, guys, okay? I plan after we have a cold read every Monday, I don't like to read a new selection. I like to go over the cold reads. Yes.
Can you get water?
Sure. Let's take a look at number 9. Deep down, I knew it was only a matter of time before the storm knocked down our power. What does power means that it's used in this sentence? What does it mean, boys and girls? Go ahead.
Wait, which one?
Number 9. Go ahead, Martin.
It's C.
It's C. I know that power means energy produced by electrical. This isn't easy. We all know, right? When we say we don't have power, it means we don't have electricity. Moving forward. And we are in the last question. Last question, boys and girls. Last question. Okay. Read these sentences from the passage. An hour ago, the thunder crashed like a herd of giants in the distance. That's paragraph 2. Meanwhile, Kelly helped Dad herd the dogs inside and collect the candles and flashing from the cabinet. Paragraph 5. What are the two ways that the word herd is being used? Meaning, two ways. That means you have to pick how many choices?
Two.
Two. Is it a large quantity?
Yes.
To gather together
No.
is when you herd something, you're herding like a herd sheep, like it is gathered together. Okay? It's gathered together. Okay? The sheep herds, excuse me. Is that an Apple Watch?
No, it's a time watch.
Okay,
It's
please.
like a compass.
Okay, please. Let's look at see the common people. To make afraid, a number of creatures kept in a group. So what is the other one? E. Okay, so that concludes the review for the cold read. All right, let me close this.
Bye.